Okay, really nice weather and lots of people on bicycles on the trails today, taking advantage of it, I guess. And with that in mind, what did I read today? Wow, it looks like a nice day here. This headline doesn't sound very promising in terms of war and stuff. How about this one? As apparently it deals with drones potentially being used to strike cities, according to this. This one says, drones could soon strike a European city. Iranian official warns. 5 drones could strike a European city in the near future, a former senior Iranian official warned on Saturday, saying Western countries should no longer feel secure following Iran's recent conflict with Israel. Europeans can no longer move about comfortably in their own countries. Mohammed Javad Larijani, a former senior judiciary official who also served as a top advisor to the supreme leader, warned in comments broadcast on state television. It's entirely possible that in the near future, 5 drones could strike a European city. The statement comes as the Islamic Republic faces renewed international pressure over its nuclear program. Britain, France, and Germany, 3 signatories to the 2015 nuclear agreement, are considering the option of triggering a snapback of the United Nations sanctions if Iran is deemed non-compliant. Of course, I'd be wondering, like with a lot of other people, is this actually real? Or is it an empty threat just to put fear into people's minds? It says this month, Iran expelled the International Atomic Energy Agency's inspectors, accusing them of being a political tool and having given intelligence to aid the attacks made by Israel and the US on Iran's nuclear facilities last month. It does indicate too where apparently they did give warnings where there may be potential drone strikes against the US president while he was in Florida, so it makes you wonder, is it the same thing? Where it's more to instill fear into people. Because many times you don't need actual weapons or to do anything yourself per se to inflict all this fear and stuff into people to essentially go crazy and to start fighting with themselves. I mean, it happens a lot in many cases. But by the sounds of it anyways, they want blood and there's going to be no end in sight, unfortunately, again, I guess, in terms of worldwide conflict in these regards. And again, people using drones in these ways as well. And with that, I thought this was kind of interesting. Remember that video the other day where the US, they published this video showing how they're changing some regulations when it comes to things like drones to make it easier to manufacture and acquire, let's just say, American-made drones. Now, a lot of people criticize, I guess, the creative direction of the video and so forth, but this was kind of interesting as apparently the video potentially violated copyright laws. Like it says here, Hegseth deletes repost drone video after unauthorized use of Metallica's song, saying, quote, Enter Sandman played as Trump's Pentagon Secretary Pete Hegseth signed a memo about using more drones. The new version contains no music. It's always more interesting, I guess, when officials actually do something like this in terms of breaking the law and all that, because it's so common for people just to download like a piece of music and then say, oh, I'll just stick it in here and so forth, without any consideration in terms of whether or not they could use it in that way. It would actually make me think too, with a lot of topic of AI and so forth, if an AI actually learned all the different music from this band, for example, and it created technically its own music that sounded so similar, but technically it is AI generated, what would the laws be, for example, down there in terms of allowing or not allowing that? Because in a lot of cases anyways around the world, if it's way too similar, then people could still be held accountable, for example. It makes me wonder what kind of screening process they go through when they actually created stuff like this. Do they actually talk to people saying, okay, do we actually have all the rights and so forth to do this? Or is it just, I don't care, just create something and then put it up? Although still with the topic of aviation per se, what's with all this news again still of planes crashing? This one says, London plane crash, all on Beechcraft B200 Super King airjet that crashed at Southend Airport. A Beechcraft B200 Super King aircraft crashed moments after takeoff from London Southend Airport on the 8th of July 2025, triggering a massive fireball and thick plumes of black smoke seen for miles across Essex. The aircraft, registered under Dutch-based operator Zucht Aviation, was bound for Lelystad in the Netherlands when it lost altitude immediately after liftoff and crashed near the runway perimeter at 3:55 p.m. local time. Flight Radar 24 data revealed the aircraft had barely climbed to 175 feet before it plummeted nose first into the ground. There was that other story too, if you remember, with that other plane where it just started to take off and it crashed shortly after too. What is going on here? Super bad maintenance, for example, from everyone? Or is there some kind of malfunction with whatever software or tech they're using? And trying to find similarities, apparently there was. As they say, apparently this is not the first time a Beechcraft Super King Air has crashed at South End, as apparently on the 12th of September in 1987, a similar model suffered a fatal crash shortly after takeoff and from the same airport. Can you believe that? And aviation safety experts have noted the aircraft's strong safety record overall, but said that the maintenance history, pilot decisions, and weight distribution will all be factors in the ongoing investigation. That's a little scary, actually. The exact same plane at the exact same airport? There's gotta be something there, right? All right, see you guys later.